Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today? Happy Wednesday. Hey Brian, thanks for stopping by again. Ooh, new follow right away. Thank you for the follow. So welcome to the Study Guide app stream. Especially those of you who might be here for the first time. I recognize one new username in the chat. So I guess I'll take that to briefly explain what we're doing here. I have been building a study guide app live on Twitch for almost a month and a half now. Stream about once a week, and the goal is to just build an Android app from scratch out in the open, make it a fun collaborative effort, get people to see like real world Android development skills and practices, be able to ask questions, interact with me while I build it. Everything's open source. You can find the project. There's a link there, but you can also do !GitHub in the chat to get the link. If you have any questions, throw them out in the chat. If you don't like asking your questions out loud, you can use this Slido link to ask questions anonymously, and I'll check that periodically while I'm streaming and try to answer those questions. In the GitHub project, you'll find like a record of all of the streams, a link to a YouTube playlist with all the videos, the resources to each one. All that fun stuff is in the README. All the app does right now is just shows a list of articles that it's pulling from my personal blog using an RSS feed. And it has a really fancy animation that I love, and I'm going to show off just because it's really cool. I didn't make the animation. I found it on Lottie files, but I was excited to add it myself. So, that's the quick recap to get everyone up to speed. And what we're going to work on tonight is an idea I got from a couple people on Twitter, which was allow the users to favorite articles, or we could bookmark articles. Maybe the word bookmark is a little better here. We want to keep track of our bookmarks of things we want to read in the future. I'm not sure if we'll take this feature through to completion today. I usually only stream for about an hour and a half on Wednesdays, so we'll see how far we can get. Maybe we won't get to persisting them with a room. But I do think I'm going to do a second stream this week on Saturday, so keep an eye out for that. If you're not following me, go ahead and hit the follow button so you can be notified when that happens. But yeah, if there are no questions or thoughts before I get started, I'm just going to go ahead and dive into this. And the first thing I'm going to do for this feature is, while I would like, and I probably will when we do like the actual business logic, to take a more test-driven development approach, for this one I'm just going to tinker with, updating the UI to like show a bookmarking icon, even if clicking it doesn't do anything yet. So let's start there. And I can show in that process a neat little trick from Android Studio that you may not be familiar with. But if you go to your drawable folder for your app module in Android Studio, and you right-click on that drawable folder and go to New, we have this option for Vector Asset. And when we click on that, it pulls up this Asset Studio window, but then it has this little thing called clip art, which always reminds me of like the old school Microsoft Word, and like when everyone used the text that was just like layered to make it look three-dimensional and like squiggly. We all did it. You all know what I'm talking about. But if you click on this, you should have sort of all of the material icons that you can go ahead and import. And there's a nice little search feature up here, so we're going to search for bookmark, and see we have this bookmark and bookmark border, which could be like a selected and unselected bookmark state. So we'll add both. We'll start with this one. It pre-fills the name for you. You can change this if you like, which I'm going to, and I'm going to say IC for icon, bookmark selected. Sorry that this might not be easy to read. I have the actual font size in Android Studio blown up when I write the code, but I think these like windows that pop up, I'm not sure I can control their font size. So let me know, like stop me in chat if like something's really hard to read. We can set a color for the bookmark. So I actually think for the app where this, what am I looking for? This is a white background, so I don't want a white icon here. We could make it black. We could also give it like the Android 10 green, which I forgot what that hex code is off the top of my head. So you know what, we'll just go with black for now. And I think I have plans for like in a future stream to like make this app a lot prettier, because I'd like to take it all the way to production, and I want it to look good. But right now we're just kind of learning together. We're focused on building something, so this little recycler view is fine. But we'll definitely spend one stream where we just do design review and clean this up. So now that we saw how to import a vector asset, I'm just going to fly through and do the other bordered icon real quick. I see bookmark unselected. Nice. So we've got those icons. Let's go ahead now and add them into our layout file. So we have this layout file for list item article. Wait for that to build, I guess. Let's zoom in over here. So this is what our article items look like. So let's get a bookmark icon in here too. We will add an image view. We'll make this, what do I want to do? We'll use the same thing, 24 by 24. Okay. Bookmark article. Okay, so we will give it, what am I looking for? Straight to the end of the parent, the top to the parent. Whoops. Top to top of parent, and bottom to bottom of parent. Nice. And we will, by default, we'll give it the bookmark unselected state. That's kind of tiny. What if I do this? Or what if I make the height 0 so it fills? God dang it. Trying to think of how to size this. You know what? We'll just leave it at the 24 and we'll play around with the size after we get it on screen. The other thing I'll want to change about this UI is I don't want like the text fields to run beyond the bookmark label. So where we have like article author constrains to the end of the parent, we're going to change that. So instead, we want to constrain end to start of bookmark article. We'll rename this to bookmark button. And then this line right here for article author, we want to do the same thing for article title. We want to have it bookmarked to the button or constrained to the button instead. Nice. We've got a lit warning on our image view because we don't have a content description. That's for accessibility purposes. That's so when we go through the app with a screen reader and the screen reader sees this image view, it needs to know what to read out loud. So we should add that. We'll give it a content description and we will say bookmark article and extract that to a string resource to get rid of the other lit warning, and we're good. So let's run this and let's just make sure this UI worked. There should be a minimum touch target of 48 dp. That's good to know. Then I will bump this up. things seem to be running slow today, and I don't know if it's the network because Twitch Studio is also telling me I've got like a poor connection, so I'm really sorry if the video seems jumpy. Let me know if it gets really bad. But yeah, everything is definitely slowing down because this network call is taking forever too. There we go. Yeah, this is really small. So let's change that. And actually, so we don't have to change both, we should make this a dimension, and we will say bookmark icon size. Let's run this again. That should look a little better now. Oh. And we'll override the click listener, because right now what it's doing is when I click on that image view, it's treating it like I actually clicked on the item, which is why I launched an article there. Yeah, we'll add padding if it doesn't look good. I don't know why this emulator is giving me issues today. I'll try a physical device if it comes down to it. I don't know if scale type is... We can try. Huh. Alright. I stand corrected. Because I saw it go down in the thing. Okay. So we'll try this. Whatever we get here, we'll go with it. Like I said, I should probably give the design a little more love and care, but we will just have something that works for now. Like I hit run and it doesn't run. I'll close the emulator and start it over. The classic turn it off and back on again approach of all kinds of software development. Okay. It's not great, but it works for now. So I'm just gonna icon for, this is issue number 30 that I'm working with. Okay, so now that we have this, looking for this icon on screen, let's handle the click. So we have an interface that we made a while back called article click listener for any click events that are going to be handled on the list item. So let's add a new one, and we can say on bookmark clicked, and it'll take in the article for that. Once we have that, we can go into our adapter, article adapter, and here we have this bind article method that sets the article. We override on click. Let's do this. So we can say ooh, that's a good idea. I'll try that out and I'll run that on the next thing. Android background. I was wondering how to get the ripple effect on the item itself. Cool, we'll try that click next time. So inside our adapter, what we'll do is we can say binding dot bookmark button dot set on click listener, and we'll still just use this, but now we're gonna have to change this method to consider the ID that was clicked. So we can just use a when statement here. We could say when v dot ID. Oh, clickable. Yeah, I'll try that out. So we can check, is this r.id.bookmark button? If it is, we can say article.let click listener on bookmarked clicked. Otherwise, there was a click somewhere else in the view, so we'll do what we were already doing. We will add that clickable before I forget. Oh, and this is probably going to yell at me to also set focusable equals true. And then one thing I'll need to do is inside article list fragment, where we implement click listener, we will have to override that other method. And we'll just say we will pass that off to the view model to run that business logic. But first, I'm just gonna test that out, make sure I can click on it, see if I get the ripple effect that Andrew mentioned. I've been doing this for like a month and a half, and I still don't know how to fill the time when builds are running. This is usually my time in the workday when I browse Twitter, but I'm not going to do that to all of you. But I also just think my internet is screwy today because this is way longer than it usually is. Nice, so we get the ripple effect on the button, and nothing happens yet, which is to be expected. But cool, that part works. So we'll just commit this, break it up into bits, handle click for number 30. Just as long as there isn't dead space. Yeah. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is, well, now we can think about how this UI all plugs together. And like, how do we want to keep track of articles that are actually favorites? And thinking about it is like, how do I want to separate like just getting a quick proof of concepts working versus like the long-term approach? So ideally what I would want this to become is you would favorite an article and we'd store that inside like a room database. And then whenever I request articles, I will make that network request in addition to hitting the database, and then I'll kind of map the two together and see like, and combine them so I know which ones were actually bookmarked. But I'm trying to think if there's a way we could sort of do this iteratively just to test it. One thing we could do is in like our article list view model. The article list view model has this view state live data, and it has this success state with a list of articles. So what I could do is every time you click on an item, I just manipulate like that specific state, and like it would just be specific to like that app session, really, as long as that view model is alive, which isn't like the best thing, but it would be a way that we could build like a proof of concept here. So let's do that, and we'll actually try to go with what we've been doing before of like keeping a test-driven development approach going. So one thing I'm going to do is start by just making a public method and say, you know, bookmark clicked, and then the article that was clicked. And then, to implement this, we will stub that out for now. Inside our fragment, we will call that, and then let's go into our unit tests and actually think about what we want to happen there. So we have this article list view model. Let's go into our test robot, because one thing we're going to need is to add a new method on our robot to call this new method in the view model. So we can call something like click bookmark, and then give it an article. And then whenever this is called, we could just proxy that through to the view model. If you're coming in for the first time and you're not sure what a test robot is, I definitely recommend checking out a previous stream. I don't remember which one it was, but it's in the README. But basically what this is like a second layer in between my actual JUnit tests and my article list view model that I'm writing tests for. And the reason for having this additional layer is because if anything changes at a high level, specifically about the view model, either like the way it's constructed or I change a method signature on the view model, then the only thing that needs to change is this test robot. So like if I change bookmarked clicked, all I have to do is change this one method, and then if I have, 10 different tests that are around bookmarking, those tests will just automatically work. As opposed to if the tests were talking to the view model directly, and then I have a change, that's like 10 different methods I have to go in and update. Maybe that's easy with the Android Studio refactoring, but that can still like create a lot of like git noise. So this is a lot of code and definitely like more upfront work, but it's very helpful and a huge maintenance benefit as you go along. So now we can go into our article list view model test class. And we'll scroll to the bottom. We'll make a new test here. What are we going to call this? We'll call this bookmark article. So one thing I'm going to need to write this before I can really write these tests is that the article entity itself doesn't have any idea if it's bookmarked or not. So what we're going to do is just add a new boolean, bookmarked, false. Let's go ahead and document that. The user has bookmarked this article to read later, false otherwise. Keep up with the documentation on that. Last week's stream, we talked about writing good documentation. Also one you should check out if you haven't yet. So now we can write our test. Sorry about that. So let's start by putting like an unbookmarked article. And we'll create an article. Test title. And then we'll say, bookmarked article equals unbookmarked article. We'll just copy it and change the bookmarked field. Thank you for the follow, Andrew. So what I'm doing here is creating like inputs of before and after for this test, right? So what we can do is we can start to call our test robot. We can tell it we want to build the view model. Then we want to emit the articles. We'll do a list of unbookmarked articles. Then we'll just assert the view state should be article list view state dot success with a list of unbookmarked. This is not readable. Let me split this up real quick. So initial articles will be list of unbookmarked article, and then we will say updated articles equals list of bookmarked article. So now our test will be a little more readable. So we're going to emit the initial articles, and then we're going to assert that the view state is success for the initial articles, and then we're going to call bookmark click bookmark on this unbookmarked article, and then we're going to say assert view state should now be article list view state dot success with updated articles. So we're going to run this test. It's going to fail, but that is to be expected. This is how test-driven development works. What do they say, like red, green refactor or something like that? Write the test, get it to fail, then write the code to get it to pass, refactor if necessary. Yeah, given when then is a really good way to think about it, and that's sort of what is happening here without the comments there. I think there are some test frameworks that like sort of have that syntax, like a DSL sort of thing. I'm not positive though. I thought I'd seen it once. All right, so this failed, to be expected, because of this call right here, where we're not actually bookmarking an article. So how do we want to handle this? Well, we can start with the fast way, or the like quick hacky way, and then sort of clean it up. But to do that, we can start by like getting the current articles, which is going to be state.value. We're going to assume that we are in a success state. How did I do this? List article. I mean, we can avoid crashing if we want and just do. This is probably not. Why are you this? Sorry, hold on. I'm trying to remember why this is failing. Oh, because it's not. I was working on a different project and I had that data response stuck in my head. As article list view state.success. And then, sorry about that. Had like another project I was working on earlier, like ingrained in my head, and I was dealing with that data response as a state. Okay, so we're going to cast this as success and get the articles. If we want to make sure we don't crash, we could do something like this. But we probably, ideally, we shouldn't be calling this before we need to, so we could consider throwing an error. But we'll come back to that. So we've got our current articles. So now we could say updated articles is going to be current articles. We're going to map them all. And then what we're going to do is say, like, if the item in the list is the one that was passed into this method, we're going to toggle that bookmarked state and then emit it. And so how do we do that? Well, we can check if it's the same item by doing something like, since we don't have a unique identifier, we could just say like item.html title is equal to article.html title. And then we can say if is same item, we're going to return item.copy. We'll say bookmarked equals the opposite of the current value, so that toggles it. And then otherwise we'll just return the item as it is. So this is kind of like a quick and hacky approach. There's probably something better. So to talk again about what like a long-term solution to this would be is like all of the favorited articles are persisted in like a room database. And then we could use like a flow to keep an open connection to the database. So anytime we want to change an article, we change it, we persist it to the database, and then we would get an update from room to say, hey, our bookmarked articles have changed, and we will use that to update the UI. So we wouldn't really do this like iterative approach that we have here. But again, this is like, let's just build a quick proof of concept to show that we can favorite articles. And then what we can do then is post a new state. So let's try that out. Let's see if we got it working. lots of dead space. Cool, the test is passing now. So we'll throw that up, writing bookmark test for number 30. And then we will also run the UI and make sure, actually, well, the UI is not going to do anything yet, because I'm not. DB. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that SQLDelete would do that. I do know that Room might do that. I forgot the reasons why, but then on like the flow operator, and you can do this, I think in RxJava too, there's something, but on a flow in coroutines, you can do like distinct until changed, so that if like Room tries to emit the database values that you already had, upstream you won't actually get those. So yeah, the test works, but now we need to actually change the adapter, because we're not updating anything about the item. So right here where we call bind article, we need to then also update the bookmark icon. So we'll start by just defining it. We'll say bookmark icon, and then we can say if article.bookmarked, we can do r.drawable.ic bookmark selected, otherwise IC bookmark unselected. And we'll use brackets here just because that looks kind of long. And then we will do binding dot our bookmark button dot set image resource. Yep, bookmark icon. All right, now let's try this out. Hopefully this works out. Option Command J, nice. I'm gonna try that out. Do I highlight like where the if statement is? Surround with brackets. Whoops, not the whole thing. That's probably what this was. Huh. Oh no, it's hold on. I definitely got the option, but it wants to like bookmark this whole thing. Oh, I have to highlight the part I want. I don't know if this is what I want. We'll try it out. Alright, that was close. I'll play around with it. There's probably like a faster way than what I'm doing. Just the drawable part. That makes sense. That makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an IDE thing to like where like the if statement is, where it gives me like invert if condition, replace if with when. Yeah. So let's run this out. I love that like I'm still learning new ways to do things in Android Studio. Okay, so we'll bookmark this. So it's kind of laggy, and I don't know if that's my fault. I can't tell if it's just the emulator being slow or if it's the way I'm handling everything. Because it might be that because I'm submitting a new list to the adapter every time. I'm not sure if it's diffing behind the scenes. Because this is definitely kind of laggy. But then so is that, so. I'm also seeing that like Twitch Studio is once again telling me I'm dropping frames. Well, right now I'm not actually dealing with the database yet. That's what I talked about as like a long-term interest. But, oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. we could try to update it locally. So one way we could do that is like, let's see. Yeah, we can see if that fixes what I want to do here. Just a quick test. Actually, let's commit that so I don't lose track of what I'm working on. Showing correct bookmark icon in recycler view. So just to like quickly throw this together to test what you're saying, so we can call bookmarked clicked, or before that we could just do something like this. We could say like updated article equals article.copy, bookmarked equals not, oh my god, hold on, so we'll say is bookmarked. I should rethink this like nullable article inside the view holder. Well, really, actually, another thought is, and we could build this in a second as some tech debt that I have here, but this view model class is getting kind of large and it's handling all these different like view conditions. Really, we should pull this logic out into a separate like view model, not like an architecture component view model, just like an article list item view model that, given some article, will define like a view state that I can use, and that will also make some of this code testable. So let's just keep going with some code to make this run. And then, yeah, I think actually a fun little tech debt cleanup would be to change this, and that would help me work around some of this like nullable stuff that's getting really annoying. So first we want to see if this is already bookmarked, then we're going to copy it and toggle that, and then we can say, okay, if we have an updated article, we're just going to call bind article again, rebind the UI. We probably don't want to do that. That could be a lot of work. So really what we're just going to do is, I'm just going to copy this, because all I want to do here is test that this is actually faster. We'll just toggle it right there. So that's all we're doing, is we're just waiting to we're just testing to see if this UI update is actually going to be faster than waiting for that whole round trip. And if this works, I'm actually going to just reverse this change real quick, and we'll clean up some tech debt there. No, it seems kind of laggy. I'm gonna short circuit this. I'm gonna cut this out, and then I'm just gonna run this and make sure and see if it's just that I'm going crazy. Yeah, it is laggy. Is it morning? Is it too early to blame the fact that I merged the Dagger Hilt PR? I commented out the line for that little round trip. We'll see if this is faster, or if it does the same, then we will chalk it up to my computer just giving me trouble today. Because, yeah, like this loading has never taken this long before. Am I on the right Wi-Fi network? Yeah? The unbookmarking isn't weird. But yeah, see, this is fast. So it's definitely has to do with the update. Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully on the recording it's not too bad. I've had that problem before. I might have to play around with like the latency settings and stuff. Oh. Wait. Oh, because I'm not... Okay, so the reason I can't unbookmark these is because I'm not actually changing the local state. Interesting. Okay, So, but this is good to know that this whole round trip between locally updating the view state and then updating the recycler view is what made this lag. So I don't know what I should be doing here. One consideration could be to just locally update and not actually submit an update to the recycler view. Do we want to do that? Let me think on that. Or if anyone has any quick ideas, because I don't actually know off the top of my head. Yeah. So I mean that's kind of what. Let me walk you through what's happening there. That's kind of what's already happening. Is so we get over to the view model, wherever you are, and we did this bookmarked clicked where we iterate through the list, and then we post a new state, and then inside our fragment we listen to that view state, and then if it's success we call adapter.articles, and then we just call notify dataset changed. So you're right, it usually isn't that heavy. I wonder if it's not that we're waiting. I wonder if it's because the reason I notice it lagging is like that ripple effect. So I actually wonder if it's kind of like the opposite thing, that it's like the ripple effect hasn't finished and it's already trying to redraw the item. So maybe it's like faster than we think it is. Is that possible? No, because, or maybe it has to wait for it to finish rippling. But even scrolling is weird. We could test that theory by turning off the ripple effect. Just get rid of that line real quick. This is fun. This was, I think I told you about this during our lunch last week. This is why I wanted to do this, is like the fun of debugging stuff in real time. I don't think there's any like long running operations other than that like looping through the article list, which I suppose we could consider like trying to run that into a coroutine or something. But no long running operations I know of other than just like passing that click event around. And this list only has like 15 or 20 items in it. Like it's lightning fast as far as computers are concerned. Like it still is like a sequential operation. It's going through all of the articles, but you can see the articles in one thing. There's like, this isn't like 100 articles. This feels pretty responsive. I'm gonna guess that it was something with the ripple effect. So I'm gonna leave it out for now. Ah, dang it, I clicked on an item. Not that actually, just to make this go a little faster. And then maybe off stream I will have to, or why that didn't work. So, cool. So that's the quick proof of concept of getting bookmarking working. And so I might briefly pause coding to merge that pull request, just to keep the code separated for people who want to review it. So while I put this together real quick, does anyone have any like thoughts or questions? Feel free to drop them in chat. Or like I said, there's that Slido link if you want to use that. Initial support for bookmarking articles. And maybe we can, it's already been an hour, but it's been like a short stream, so I'll code a little more. I think I might save the like persisting of articles until Saturday's stream. We'll see. One, just a fun fact to always repeat if you haven't seen this, because I talked about it way back on like the very first stream. But if you are like storing your project in GitHub and you're also using GitHub issues for keeping track of what you want to do, if you take like the issue number, so here we're working on favoriting articles, and this is number 30. That's why I kept putting number 30 in all of my commit messages, because that will like connect them to the issue. So I can see here all of the times that I referenced a commit, or one of my commits referenced this issue. So that's really helpful for someone to come in, look at this issue, and like see what's happening and see what the current status is. So that's just really nice. Something to keep in mind. We've got GitHub Actions running. Wonder why this one failed, but we will make sure this one passes and then we'll merge it. See if there are no questions right now. So let me think about what other short things we could do for today. We could build like a brief like caching mechanism that's maybe not like a room database, but some other like in-memory bookmark cache or something that is separate from storing the state in the view model. But to test that the view model state actually works, we could actually just rotate this device, turn on auto rotate, which will recreate the fragment, and we can see that our bookmarks are still there. So that's cool to make sure that that state is still working. Do you have a schedule for your stream? So usually, I'm not sure where you are at, but streaming on Wednesdays, 6:30 Eastern time, so an hour ago was when I started. And that's usually standard every Wednesday. And then every other Saturday, if I'm free, I do a stream sort of around noon Eastern time. I should put the schedule up on the Twitch page. I can also throw this into the README inside the GitHub repo. Thanks for calling that out. I should do that so people can find it. If you can't attend a stream, everything is stored on Twitch. I think it's up to a certain number of videos will be on Twitch. So you can see like this link here for each stream, and the README will take you to that recording. And these recordings are actually kind of neat because you can see like the Twitch chat on the side. I try to repeat the chat when I think about it, but I don't always. So if you instead are trying to find the videos on like YouTube, some of the things I say might seem out of context. I should really think about that. Maybe a better solution. But at the top of the README, all of the videos are also going into a YouTube playlist. So yeah, if you can't catch the live stream, I try to make sure everything's recorded, and so people can still have access to all of this content. Yeah, I know that it's a thing some people can do. I just have not figured that out, but maybe I'll try to figure that out before the next one. Yeah, I'll actually drop a link to the YouTube playlist for all of you real quick. If you are interested, so like I said last week, I'm not really trying to become a YouTuber. These are the only videos I've posted. Thank you for the kind feedback. I appreciate it. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you have to subscribe, but if you want to know whenever these videos go up, you can. I only post, one a week when I stream, so you're not going to get overloaded with YouTube notifications. I care more that people follow me here on Twitch than they subscribe to me on YouTube. So if you're not doing that, do that. Tell all your friends to do that. And as always, I've been procrastinating on doing this because we've talked about some ideas. But most of my streams are going to be around building this study guide app, but I am open to, if people are interested in like different kinds of streams. Like if you want to learn about a specific topic in sort of like an isolated format, we can do that. I've considered doing sort of like a podcasty sort of thing where I do like paired programming or shared code review with another developer. I've considered making like code reviewing some of you, someone who's watching the stream, like, as like a thank you for coming to the stream. I'd love to like look at some of your code. I'm always available to do that, by the way. If you want to follow me on Twitter or any other way to reach out to me, and you ever need help with a programming problem, like any random thing, like reach out to me. I love just being part of the community and helping other people. If it's something you would like to see me do live on stream and share, I'll do that. But even if you just privately like want to bounce ideas off of me, like I'm always available. Reach out to me. I'd be happy to do that. So let's go over see if this pull request worked. Cool. So that's passing. I'm going to use the squash and merge. We'll break down this thing. So squash and merge is going to take down all of those commits and put them into one commit on the base branch. For bookmark. Oh, you know what? We'll just even this add initial support for bookmarking articles is good enough. So we will squash and merge. And one thing you may or may not have caught in all of that is when you do the squash and merge in GitHub and it shrinks everything into one commit, it also puts the pull request number right there. So if I'm like looking at my commit history and I see that this commit was made, I can also see the pull request, which shows me the files changed, like the diff for that one commit, but it actually also shows me like all those initial commits, and then if there's code review or back and forth on the pull request, I'll be able to get to that. So really, like when you use GitHub, I try to reference these numbers to issues and pull requests as much as I can, because it's just a great way to take the code and tie that to some external information to provide more context on like why something is the way that it is. Cool. So does anyone have any... I'm kind of torn between... A, we could just kind of call it a short stream, and because I think we're at like a good breaking point. B, we could try to build some sort of like temporary caching mechanism for favoriting articles. I don't know if that's worth it if we're going to work on a room database. Or maybe if someone else has any other questions or thoughts on what we could work on. Because I don't really want to get into the room stuff because that could take a while. We could try to debug that. We could try to debug that ripple effect thing a little bit, see if we could figure out what was happening there. Because I am kind of just like grasping at straws. Andrew, if you're still here, do you have any rough ideas? Like it could be that it's updating too fast. We could try to... I could Google that. Yeah, let me make sure that I can recreate this. And then actually, let's do the classic Android thing. So we'll say, like, I could do updating too fast. Ripple Android. I don't know. See if we get something. Nothing immediately standing out. Try just doing the change locally in the view holder. I did that, actually. That was one of the things that I tried. So I thought I did. Let's go back. Okay, so here, when the bookmark button is clicked, whoops. So we're going to comment out this line where we're not putting the call through. And so instead, what we're going to do is say, what do I want to do? Say is bookmarked. we will update the article. And then what we will do is just call this stuff again, just to change the image resource. Yeah, that's hacky, but that should update it locally. And then after doing the local update, don't submit a new list. Right, so we get the current status, then we update the article just so that like we can continue to toggle it. Then we get the new bookmark icon based on its current status. And then we set that to our bookmark button, and we've commented out this line so it's not submitting a new list. I know this code looks a little confusing, so that's why I want to walk through it and make sure I didn't miss anything. And we'll see. If it still lags, then it's that similar idea, but maybe it's something about calling set image resource while it's ripping it, while it is rippling is not what we should do. And maybe now that I've said that, maybe that makes perfect sense. No, that doesn't hang. Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely like a rebinding issue. So while that ripple effect is happening, it's trying to bind a new article. Why does that do that? I'm just Googling to see if anyone's had a similar issue as me. This ripple effect on not working with light tab. I don't know. So here's an old one where it looks like they just did this like post on animation delayed, so they like give it time for the animation to finish. Yeah, that's probably what it's doing, which would be fine if it didn't like hang for a second. You know, it's like if the ripple just went away, then it went away, but that's not what happened. It like the ripple just like blew up and stayed there. We could try the post delayed just to like validate this thought process. Again, more trial and error to see if that's it. I don't really like adding that though as a solution here, because it implies like knowledge of that ripple effect to know like when it'll probably be done. Yeah, the internet tonight is rough. I'm sorry. We'll have to look into it. Maybe I'll just like say that Prince and I need to whoa, that one hung for a long time. Interesting. Yeah. Alright, we could try the post delayed thing just for fun to see how it works. So let's look at this one. So they use viewCompat.post on animation delayed. So this postpones your click action until 50 milliseconds after the next animation step and gives the animation enough time to load and run before your click action is performed. So let's try this code. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. So this uses viewcompat.postOnAnimationDelayed. They give it here. We can try it just to validate this thought process and see if it works. So cut that real quick. So viewcompat.postOnAnimationDelayed. Give it a runnable, and then we'll do that, and then the delay will be 50. Let's try it out. And we're still sort of updating it locally. We'll leave that because we just want to test the ripple effect thing. If this, yeah, we'll stop after this if I can get this to work, or can't. If I can't, I will keep looking into it after I eat tonight, and I will try to share an answer with everyone eventually. Yeah, we could bump up the delay constant. I feel like 50 is really short. Whoa, the first one went really good, and then it was like... So sometimes it's pretty fast now. I think that some of the lag I do have, I'm going to chalk up to the emulator, because some of these clicks are actually pretty quick. Interesting. It does feel hacky. I'm going to commit this hack anyways. This is still on my other branch, even though I merged the PR. I'm going to think on this. I might reach out to some people who know RecyclerView better than I do. Maybe we need to look into like writing our own like differ or something. Yeah. Because because here what I'm doing, so I'm not gonna try to change this code anymore for today, but I'll talk through what I was just thinking of, which is like our definition here of updating the local state is like updating this within the view model, right? But there's also like this backing data set here, and like maybe I should have also updated this, and maybe when I call notify dataset changed here, whatever diffing it does under the hood would actually be able to handle that. I'm not sure. You know, if no, let me see. So my roommate has not messaged me yet about being hangry, so I'm actually going to do one more small thing that I talked about, which is cleaning up this view model to tackle some technical debt that's separate from what we're doing. Yeah, I think list adapter is the approach, and given the time, I'm not really going to do that on the fly, but I'll look into it, and if I figure it out, I can start the next stream with that. Or maybe I will share that information out on Twitter, so keep an eye out for that. But let's clean up the view model here and make it, or this view holder here, and make it a little more testable. So what we want to clean up is like this method here. So all of this code that's like inside of, how do I want to clean this up? I forgot that we had references to like the context and stuff. So it's not as simple as sort of other list item view holders I've done before. Let me show you what I was talking about. I think I might actually go back on everything I just said. So we could create something here like article list item view model. So we've got this article list item view model, and it could have like, this should be able to support some article entity. And we can make it nullable, because when we initialize this, we won't have one. And so what this would do is it would basically say, given some article, how do I expose like the relevant view information, kind of like a view model works for your fragment. So we would do something like this, and we would say like bookmark button resource, right, which is an int. And then we could say get is equal to if article.bookmarked is true, we would return r.drawable dot bookmark. I see bookmark selected. We need to import r, and then else r.drawable dot ic bookmark unselected. And now that we have this code sort of outside of our adapter class, we can now write regular JVM unit tests for it without needing something like RoboElectric or anything to like work around the Android framework. So let's write that real quick. Throw it in the test folder. So we'll just write a quick test. Get bookmark icon res. So we'll create a view model, article list item view model. So we could do something like this. We could say view model dot article is equal to an article, and we'll say bookmarked is true, and then we say assert that. Didn't I add this before? Yep. View model dot bookmark button res dot is equal to bookmark selected. And then we can also do false one. So we've got tests like that. So yeah, this idea of even using like a view model for your recycler view items is really nice to keep some of the code separated so your adapter class doesn't become like a God class. It also allows you to write JVM unit tests around that recycler view UI without dealing with RoboElectric or even like running instrumentation tests and things like that. Cool, so that passed. So then the way we would use this is go into our adapter. So we could replace this article. I'm going to leave it because I'm not rewriting all of the code. But what we would do here is we would reference a view model, and we can just create the default article list item view model. And then what we would do is each time we bind an article, we would set that article on the view model. Equals article. And then we can change it by saying where we call set image resource. Now we get rid of this, all this fun stuff, and then we just say view model dot bookmark button res. So that makes our adapter class a lot smaller. So we could even change. We could throw this spanned thing into the view model. Let's just do that real quick. We'll make that nullable. And so then in our adapter we do, so here we say view model dot article title. So we've got that stuff. So one thing I'm gonna pause on before I get back. Also, let me put myself on a different branch. List item view. So one thing that is a little trickier to think about is like this right here, where we're referencing the item view context, and then we are calling for the string resource. And like that, we don't really want to put in the view model because we can't really write like good like JVM tests for it. We probably also can't do that with the spanned tag either, now that I think about it. So not everything in here will be perfectly unit tested. But what we could do if we do want to get it outside the view holder in the meantime is we could do something like this. Create like a function. We could say like get author text and then have it accept some like Android resources. I'll return a string. And then what we would do is we would take this same call for the get author and we would say return resources dot get string article.author name. And so then inside our article adapter we now say view model dot get author text, and then we do item view dot resources. Yep. And so now we can get rid of any reference to an article here. And everything's handled by the view model. Data class article list yeah, we could do that. And it would effectively just kind of be like a separate layer there. Maybe there's a better way to do this. Definitely just kind of wanted to show you the idea of like using a view model pattern for your recycler view items, but there's probably a better way to do this. I think I am personally also getting kind of hungry, which is probably why I'm going faster than I should tonight. Item view model. So I'm not going to merge this code yet. I'm going to think on it, but I just wanted to show off that that concept. Because I mean, we can write unit tests here if we want to use like mock k to mock our resources. But that can be, sometimes that can be kind of annoying. I'm also not sure how it would work with the toSpanned call. But I'll have to try that out later. Cool. I hope that was, I know that wasn't like a super in-depth stream. We definitely learned something, and that we learned how to handle this ripple effect, even if it was in a hacky way. I hope that seeing the view model for list items was helpful. But I think I'm ready to wrap it up. If there are any other like questions or thoughts, I really appreciate how active chat was today. Always makes my life easier when chat is keeping me going back and forth. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, I should be available this Saturday to stream, and we'll clean this up, and I will spend some time between now and then to figure out what happened with that ripple effect. But on Saturday we can talk about like storing these articles in room and handling like bookmarks a lot better, and even getting them to like persist across sessions. Because we still don't have that. If I force close this and open it back up, I should not have any bookmarks. Yeah, we'll have to wait forever. Yeah. But again, thank you all for coming. If there are no other questions, I'll see you all on Saturday or next Wednesday.